Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 618 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. I'm Heidi, and I want you to know that in case no one's told you today, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for working on being the best that you can be. And I know you're doing that because you show up here to the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast for 10 minutes twice a week. And what we're doing is we're just figuring out how to have the best life we can. And so much of that comes from how we control our thoughts, how we control our mind, because we do have the power to control it. But a lot of us just let it control us from the minute we get up to the minute we go to bed. I mean, we could, if we weren't careful, be at the whim of whatever thought our mind throws our way. But it doesn't have to be like that. We have the power to control our whole life by simply controlling the thoughts that we have. Because those thoughts can make us so miserable even when life is good, or they can make us feel joy even when life is hard. I had an experience like this last week that drove that point home for me. Even though I do know it intellectually, it's still, you have to work on it every single day, just like going to the gym every single day. You're not ever going to get to the point to where you're like, hey, I got this. I don't have to worry about it anymore. We're constantly having to exercise, and we're constantly having to work on our mindset, and that's okay. But picture this. So it's Christmas Eve, and I'm sitting in church. We go once a year, honestly, just being transparent here. And it's on Christmas Eve, and I'm surrounded by my beautiful family, and there's gorgeous lights everywhere. They've got it so beautiful, and there's happy, just excited people all around. You know how it is on around Christmas. People are happy and excited, and there was beautiful music playing. And out of nowhere, this wave of sadness washes over me, which makes zero sense, right? I mean, that this should be one of the coziest, most joyful nights of the year, yet there I was feeling unexpectedly heavy for some reason. So, of course, I started analyzing it while I was sitting there because that's what I do. And I realized quickly why I was feeling that way. So the opening song was one that I had never heard before. The pastor that was speaking was new. I had never seen him before. The two founding pastors that we all adored and loved for years had both retired, so they were not there that night. Some of my favorite voices in the choir weren't there anymore. So in that moment, I was focusing on and kind of grieving all the little changes at once. And my brain was just laser focused on everything that was different from how it used to be, how I used to love it, how it was always. And I was able to notice this because I know my feelings come from my thoughts. Even if I'm not super conscious of what those thoughts are, they may be kind of in the background and I'm not really conscious of them, but I caught myself and I noticed where my attention was going. And instead of letting that sadness spiral, I made a deliberate choice. And every time my mind wanted to drift to, oh, this isn't the same, it doesn't feel the same, I would gently pull it back to one thing that I could appreciate about what was going on right then. So one thing, the warmth of my husband's hand in mine, I can always appreciate that. The way the lights were flickering and, it was just set just right, so beautifully, and it was kind of reflecting off the little children's faces, and also the fresh perspective that the new pastor, who's young, what his message was. And all through the message, I took little notes on what he was saying, and I really soaked in that moment. I made myself very present in what he was saying, and also in that moment with my family. And I noticed that the sadness sort of lifted. Not because I suddenly loved all the changes. I did not. Things were genuinely different, and a part of me still missed that old version. But I stopped pouring energy into resisting what was the current reality. And I started pouring it into appreciating what was right in front of me. And that small shift changed the entire night. And I've been thinking about that moment a lot over the past few days, and I'm actually glad it happened because it reminded me of a tension that we all live with every single day, because we're sort of wired deep in our biology to crave the familiar, because familiar feels safe. Familiar used to mean survival for our ancestors. Like a sound in the bushes could be dangerous. A new food could be poison. A new face could be a possible threat. So evolution sort of rewarded the people who stuck with what they knew and who approached the unknown with caution. And that wiring kept us alive, and it's still in us today. That's why we love our regular coffee order or our favorite playlist on repeat, or we go to the same vacation spot every year. Familiar equals comfort, and familiar equals happiness. But here's the empowering truth. We are no longer having to dodge predators for the most part. The unknown rarely kills us anymore. And yet that old wiring still fires, making us resist perfectly good change. So a new job or a new relationship or new routines, maybe an empty nest or our parents getting older or something as simple as a church service that looks a little different. Meanwhile, the only constant in life is change. Everything changes. Our bodies change, the seasons change, technology changes, relationships change. And if we spend our energy clinging to how it used to be, we create our own suffering and we miss the beauty that's unfolding right now, right in front of us. So how do we handle this built-in conflict without losing ourselves? Well, first of all, you have to do like I did that night, and that's notice the resistance. Notice that feeling of resisting the change. That moment that you feel that tightness or that nostalgia, that irritation at something new or something different. If you can notice it and just sort of say to yourself, okay, I'm wanting that to be the way it used to be because it was familiar. Just notice it. That takes half of its power, just noticing it. And then give yourself permission to grieve what's gone. Like change a lot of times involves real loss. And it's okay to miss the old pastor or your old body or the old dynamic you had with a friend. It's okay to feel it and acknowledge it, but we don't want to live there. We don't want to camp out there. It's not a good place to stay. And then finally, just deliberately change your focus to what's good right now. Not fake positivity, just something that you can honestly appreciate about this moment. And you can ask yourself, what's one thing I can enjoy in this new version? What opportunity does this change open up that the old one didn't? Now, I've used this over and over. In the past few years, when our friends moved from our city one by one, like they just gradually sort of left and they went to where they were going to live out their retirement. And I reminded myself that we would have fun new places to visit rather than just focusing on woe is me. All of our friends are leaving the city. I was like, okay, well, they're moving to cool new places. So we're just going to have more places to visit, which I loved. And when a hurricane took out one of our favorite little quaint hotels in the Caribbean, we were sad about it, but we also knew that we would have fun finding our next, maybe even better little spot. Those are little things that you can do that just, yes, you can grieve that being gone, but also look forward to what that is making space for. Change doesn't have to erase what came before. It just sort of asks us to make room for what's next. And here's the thing, when we stop fighting change and we start sort of dancing with it, life gets richer. I mean, we grow, we discover new music, new passions, new versions of ourselves that we might actually like a little better, even though at first we didn't think we would. My challenge to you today is to pick one change in your life, big or small, that you've been resisting or maybe quietly resenting, maybe a new boss, or maybe the kids have left for college, or maybe there's been a shift in your health, or even something as little as your favorite product got discontinued, which happened to me recently. But acknowledge what you miss about that old routine, acknowledge that, and then come up with 3 things that you can appreciate about what your new reality is. Don't force it. Just come up with 3 honest ones. Usually we can find at least 3 things. It's like, okay, here's what I can appreciate. And if you pick this new habit up, you'll notice that life becomes easier because you're learning how to adapt to any change that comes up. And it doesn't mean you have to love it. It just means you find something you do love about your new reality and spend time focusing on that instead. See, change is inevitable, but it doesn't have to be so hard. It's the resisting of the change that creates that optional suffering, if you really think about it. It's a little mindset shift with huge rewards. I'll be doing it with you. So share this with 3 people who may have had some big changes or small changes in their life recently. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.